أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. My dear brothers, Ansar, Khuddam, Atfal, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Last year at the Ijtema, I spoke about the inherent strength that we all carry as Ahmadi Muslims, where we have gained inspiration from the plight of those that have had to forbear much for the sake of the Jamaat. Earlier this year, one of our brothers in Pakistan became immortalized through his deeds. Master Abdul Quddus Shaheed became the latter day Hazrat Sahibzada Abdulatif. May Allah be pleased with them both. Almost 110 years ago, Hazrat Sahibzada Abdulatif was made to suffer in such appalling ways. His account can be read in full on the inspirationalstories.org.uk website, but in short, Hazrat Sahibzada Abdulatif was a renowned scholar in Afghanistan, very much respected by his people and his peers. Upon hearing about the promised Messiah, he had to see for himself the truth of his message and travel to Qadian. Needless to say, Hazrat Sahibzada Abdulatif accepted Ahmadiyya with an open heart. However, upon his return to Afghanistan, and as it became known that he'd accepted Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad as the promised Messiah and Mahdi, he was arrested. A heavy chain weighing 32 kilograms was placed around his neck. He had his hands and feet manacled with heavy chains, and he was taken to the palace dungeon where he was kept for the following 4 months in horrendous conditions. When all attempts by the Emir of Afghanistan and its senior ranking people failed to dissuade him from Ahmadiyyat, he was finally taken to his place of execution, led there by a rope that had been inserted through a piercing in his nose and dragged through the streets. When one last chance was offered to Hazrat Sahibzada Abdulatif to renounce, he calmly replied, "I seek the protection of Allah. How can I deny the truth? Life has no significance for me. How can I abandon my faith for the sake of my wife and my children? I will not do that. I will die for the truth." The rest, as they say, is history. He was buried up to his waist in the ground with his arms tied behind his back and was subsequently stoned to death by a baying crowd. He was stoned to death by a baying crowd, and his body ended up covered in a mound of stones. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Now let's leap forward 110 years. Just 4 months ago, Hazrat Abdul Quddus, a local Jamaat Sadr in Rabwa, was subjected to torture one would not expect in such a civilized age. Police officers in charge of Rabwa police station arrested Abdul Quddus Sahib and held him in their prison for a month without bringing any charge against him. He was then taken to another location where they subjected him to extreme torture for up to 10 days. He was told that such and such people from the Jamaat were involved in a murder, and if he signed papers to testify to this, then he would be set free. Abdul Quddus Sahib refused, saying it was not his statement and it was also not true. And so when he didn't comply, his captors threw him to the floor and started hitting him and continually demanding him to give in. This included beating him whilst hung upside down by the ankles, striking him with dozens of blows at a time. They would pin him to the ground as someone would roll a large, heavy wooden roller weighing over 40 kilograms up and down his body. He was also subjected to psychological torture through severe sleep deprivation. He would be allowed to periodically doze off, at which point his captors would immediately beat him again. When his body could take little more beating, they would treat his wounds, only so that they could again begin his torture sessions. The tyrants finally released Abdul Sahib into the care of a friend who immediately took him to a local hospital. He had lost a great deal of blood during this ordeal, and it was clear that his kidneys and other internal organs had been severely damaged. It was during this period that Abdul Sahib was able to give a full account of what happened to him. He was asked in hospital by a representative of the Jamaat if, under the severe torture, he had understandably given in to even some small demand of his captor. In an emotional and charged response, Abdul Sahib stated that his captors could not even make him write a dot, let alone anything of any worth to them. His injuries, however, had taken too much toll, and a few days later he left this world and was received by his Maker. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. I will, however, put it to you that if you come across something that you know is the absolute truth, and your heart confirms it as such, yet 100 people tell you otherwise, does it then make it untrue? This is what the likes of Hazrat Sahib Abdulatif and Hazrat Abdul Quddus had to contend with. Such intense pressure, such lavish promises, such extreme torturing. Yet, throughout their ordeal, they held their resolve, just like the slaves of early Islam. When burning hot sand was poured over their naked backs, but they remained resolute to the end while saying, Ahad, Ahad, meaning the one, referring to Allah, the Almighty. These instances are among the highest examples of strength and courage and willpower that you will find anywhere in world history. Nowadays, we look at the likes of Bear Grylls and marvel at his exploits. Jumping into sub-zero temperature rivers, traversing across barren deserts with no supplies. I admit he is brave and courageous, but what is his motivation? I'm sure the £1 million salary may have something to do with it. What is our motivation? You should seriously ask this question to yourself. Why do we do the things we do for the sake of the Jamaat? There are Khuddam here who have not slept since yesterday as they have been up on duty all night. There are others present that have come straight from work, will attend the Ijtema and then go back to work without seeing their family for the whole weekend. At the other end of the spectrum, there are Khuddam present here who have, for the sake of the Jamaat, been beaten to within an inch of their life. or have seen their houses and property destroyed, or their parents disgracefully mistreated and killed in front of their eyes. These are the unknown Khuddam, the unknown servants that would put up with anything for the sake of the Jamaat, not for applause or a trophy or a pat on the back. Why do they do it? Why have they not left the Jamaat for a more peaceful life? Let me tell you a little more about the unknown Khadim. This is a person who loves Allah so much that he fears not being within the fold of his Creator's love. It is someone who knows that there was no greater person to grace this earth other than the Holy Prophet of Islam, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and that he brought the complete teaching and guidance for humanity from Allah. It is someone who has read and heard the proofs about the revival of Islam given by the promised Messiah and fully accepts them without any hesitation. It is someone who would willingly obey every instruction of Hazrat Khalifatul Masih and would sit or stand at his word. It is someone whose love for his fellow Khuddam brothers is the same, if not greater, than his own bloodkin. He is someone who will stand in the blistering afternoon heat to help park cars. He is someone who will clean showers and toilets all weekend and then go back to his professional day job. He is someone who would go out on foot to collect janda and charity in the pouring rain and the biting cold. He is someone who will over the whole day peel vegetables, cook, and then clean up, missing the entire event that people came for. He is someone who will stay up all night guarding the property of the Jamaat and then go to work in the morning. He is someone that will work till he is physically and mentally exhausted. He puts the needs of others before himself. He makes sure he prays in congregation. He gives from his savings. He leads from the front. He obeys his seniors. He is quite simply a Khadim who has seen the truth and unequivocally believes. It is the unknown Khadim that plays a huge role in the continuing success of Jamaat Ahmadiyya and is part of the collective bond under one Khalifa, the Khalifa of Islam, where he finds his strength to persevere. Even in these relatively first few years of the second century of Islam, even in these relatively first few years of the second century of Islam Ahmadiyyat, where our numbers have reached the tens of millions, there is still a long way to go. But the unknown Khadim is not daunted by what lies ahead, for he knows that if not him, then his children. If not his children, then his grandchildren. And if not his grandchildren, then it is his great-grandchildren that will see the victory of Islam Ahmadiyyat, inshallah. And these children will ask, what did their forefathers do to contribute to this magnificent victory? I urge all of you to find your place in this historic victory, for your names may become forgotten, but your deeds will not be. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.